Tonight, we gather to make decisions for our community. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sounded good with all those men.
Yeah.
And I got a soda on the shoulder.
Last year.
Okay, once again, welcome to our meeting, May 7th. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Here.
Mr. Parsons?
Here.
Mr. Redding?
Here.
Mrs. Dosa?
Here.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mrs. Rissel? Here.
Yeah, everybody is accounted for. That's wonderful. You have before you the minutes from the April 16th, 2024 council meeting. I hope you've taken a few moments to look over them. And if anybody sees any corrections that need to be made. Is your pen working? Any corrections from anybody?
Just one, very last page. Ordinance 24-2042. Right near the end there, it said the motion was made by Mrs. Parsons, but my wife told me she didn't do that. Should be Mr. Parsons.
Apologies.
Anybody else? And I would ask for a motion to adopt as corrected.
Make a motion to adopt as corrected.
Mr.
Second.
Young has made a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Parsons seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Correspondence, we have a number of things on our desk that we'll probably get to and cover here during the meeting. And I have one item for new business. We'll take care of that then. Does anybody else have any correspondence to bring forward? Okay, guest and special events. We have here the, God bless them in orange, the officers of the Fraternal Order of Eagles, number 2193. Gentlemen, you're on. We need you to come up to the stand here, though, and talk into the microphone. Wow. There's your playground. Yeah, that's where they send me to.
It's the best view we've had all day.
All right, we good? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for, Council, thank you for having us here today. I'm not all that big on the public speaking. My name is Brian May. I'm the president of the Fraternal Order of Eagles. I have the rest of my officers here. There's a sign that Mount Healthy is going to put up at Ronald Reagan and Hamilton Avenue. We wanted to assist you with that. So we have a check here that we like to present to council in the city for the cost and installation of the sign so that you will have it, and then everybody will know all the great things that are going on here, the concerts and the parades and everything else that we have. So on behalf of Mount Healthy Fraternal Order of Eagles 2193, we'd like to present the check to you. So, thank you.
Well, thank you.
picture.
Please.
I did put a picture of it on everyone's desk, but they want to get a picture with everybody up here with the big
So
one.
if council wouldn't mind maybe coming up so we can all have the big photo op for you guys and presenting of the check.
So are we.
You go up there. I'll go take I'll take the picture.
I know.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate that.
Thanks again, we greatly appreciate it.
Lawson.
I will get it taken care of, thanks.
Wonderful gesture. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
We hope so. We like it when you guys come in here.
Ross in the back. Who the hell are you guys? Can I see that picture? Is this an elect?
Thank you so much.
I did?
Should be on your.
I don't have it.
Yeah, you can look at that one.
This is all electronic.
Yeah.
So there is a picture in front of Cordell, Bob, and Ross of what the sign will look like and where it's going to go, kind of
Not sure how big it is, but
where it'll get installed.
like it might be 6 by.
They've already put that in, right?
So, how does it,
That's already been put up, right? The piece.
No, it's gone. They're building it.
That's what it's gonna look like when it's put up.
yeah.
What is that? There's something there now, right?
What's that? They took some trees down so that the sign could be put in.
I saw, it looked different.
Yeah, they took some trees down on the backside. Hey, Scott. Because the sign lights up on both sides.
We just put a Bluetooth in and it
Such a
takes
nice
off.
thing.
Or is Bluetooth in? Oh,
Make sure it's secure.
yeah.
Too many things, that's the problem.
No hacking.
Hey, you think I can get under control?
Now,
Why
here?
don't you send this back down that way?
They got one over there.
Okay, I'll just keep it.
As long as Norma Stitz don't get on there, we're fine.
Norma Spitz.
All right.
Stitz. We were thinking Michelle pay for
Yeah, I know.
Are we all on the same page?
Xavier, okay.
By voice, at least. Okay.
They do a lot of people, and somebody got a couple of, you know.
Okay, a special thank you for the Eagles for that wonderful gift. Very nice. Very, very nice. We'll invite you back more often.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on our list of guests and special events is Troy Miller from Cincinnati Metro.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
It's hard to top when you got a check brought to you, right? So it's pretty hard. So I'm Troy Miller. I'm Senior Manager of Government Relations for Metro. This is Emmy Randall. She's our Senior Manager for Planning and Mobility on Demand. If you remember last summer, I came out and we talked about Metro Now, and we was getting ready to kick it off. Well, now we got the data to show you how good the service is working. And we want to go through that, walk that through with you. Quick couple of updates on the BRT. Always get up BRT questions. We're not at that stage yet. We're just now getting a consultant. We just hired a consultant. That's the next steps. Positive news, the FTA was here a couple weeks ago and wanted a tour of the route, and then they jumped on the plane and went back. So they weren't here long to take a tour. But with that, I'm going to hand it over to Emmy. Any questions, we can answer them. Go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for having us out tonight. It's our pleasure to come and tell you a little bit about Metro Now, how that service is performing, and what you can expect to see in the future in terms of that service. So who here has taken a ride on Metro Now? Only one? Two? Yeah, you gotta try it. So I'll challenge everybody, take a ride, give it a try. It is our new innovative on-demand service that we launched last year. We're using smaller vehicles to go in throughout the neighborhoods and provide a door-to-door service. So this is something very new that we're piloting, and I'm happy to report that it's going very well. We did launch our first zone last year in May. We launched the Springdale-Sharonville zone. And then on July 11th, we launched the Northgate Mount Healthy Zone. And then just this past month, on March 17th, we did a minor service expansion of both of the existing zones where we modified the boundaries, extending those boundaries a little bit based on public feedback that we've been getting from our customers. And then we also expanded the hours of operation. We're now operating to 9 p.m. on weekdays and also to 9 p.m. on the weekends. Previously, we closed service at 6 p.m. on the weekends, so we were getting a lot of feedback, hey, we want to go out to dinner and we want to do the rides on the weekend evenings. So we've met that demand and have expanded service. So the way that the service works is the trips start and end within the specific zones that are designated for service, and this is so that we can provide short, quick trips to everyday activities, things like healthcare appointments, shopping, neighbors' houses, those kinds of things. So it can connect to jobs, shopping, healthcare. We do plan to roll out 4 additional zones, so there'll be 6 zones that we've planned for when the service rolls out in full. We are in the process right now of procuring additional vehicles, so we hope to be able to roll out a couple of more zones yet this year. So that's our plan.
And just real quick, there's a folder, I give everybody a folder if you want to follow along. It's got the information, you can follow along with it.
Yeah, you've got a copy of a presentation there. So you can schedule a trip on Metro Now, either using our app that you can download for your smartphone, or you can call and phone in, and a reservationist will book your ride. It's just $2 each way, so each time you ride is $2, whether you're going from one far side of the zone to the other, or you're just going a couple of blocks, it's a flat rate. The operating hours are 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekdays, and 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the weekends. If you've ever used an Uber or Lyft, the app is very similar to that. You download the app, you set up an account. The application has a GPS feature in it, so it knows where you're located. You punch in the address that you want to go, and it will give you a ride proposal. It will say a ride is available in 12 minutes, or a ride is available in 23 minutes, whatever's available at that time for that on-demand service. It will notify you when the van's on the way, and then a few minutes out to let you know when the ride's there. And then you would do the same to book your return trip if you want to go both ways. If you don't have a smartphone or you're not comfortable using that, you can also call, and our dispatch service will book the ride for you and give you your estimated time of arrival for the van. We do have about 85% of our rides that are being booked through that mobile app, so that's really great. People are finding it convenient and easy to use. So the vans, we didn't bring a van tonight, but I think we had a van out last year, and you've probably seen them in and around the community. So we did purchase special vans for this, and they're all branded vehicles. Each van accommodates 8 people and 2 wheelchairs, and they also can accommodate child seats. If a paying adult rides, 2 children under 37 inches can ride for free. So small children get to ride free with that paying adult. Some of the high destination points or places that people are wanting to go to right now in that Springdale-Sharonville zone include the Woodlawn Kroger. We have a lot of folks that are going to that Tri-County Mall area and to the Target. We're seeing some utilization from the hotels that you see at the 275 and 75 interchange. We expect that will pick up as the Sharonville Convention Center starts to be more fully utilized. And then downtown Sharonville is covered, as well as the Forest Park Kroger. We recently extended the boundaries all the way west to Forest Park to Winton Road for that particular zone. And then we also recently expanded the boundary to cover a large portion of Lincoln Heights community. The Northgate Mount Healthy Zone covers Colerain Avenue from Struble Road down to Galbraith. It goes east over to the Finneytown area. We've recently added, the southern portion of the boundary extends all the way to Galbraith Road now, whereas previously it kind of hugged more along Cross County. So we've got some additional destinations that people can utilize within this zone, including the Center for the Blind and also the Tri-Health Finneytown area. Some of the high destinations that we're seeing use within this zone include Mount Healthy High School. We're seeing a lot of school-age students that are using the service to get to and from and for after-school activities. Clover Nook is really picking up in utilization since we've added that, as well as the Walmarts, the Krogers along Colerain Avenue as well. So ridership is really going well. Since we launched the service, we have seen ridership grow each month. When we launched the Northgate Mount Healthy Zone, it just really took off and accelerated really fast. Last month, so for the month of April, we had over 6,000 rides, 6,058 rides. That's both zones combined. However, the Mount Healthy Northgate Zone is significantly higher in ridership than what the Springdale-Sharonville zone is now. So this zone is performing very well. And our on-time performance is over 99%. So what that means is when the app tells you that your van will arrive in 15 minutes, 99% of the time it'll arrive within 5 minutes of when it tells you it will arrive. So very reliable in terms of what you see and what you get from the app. So we're seeing about 211 average on weekdays for ridership, and then our weekends have really picked up just in the last few weeks since we expanded those hours of service. We have almost 200 rides on Saturdays now and 163 rides on Sundays. We expect to see these trends continue to grow as more and more people become aware of the service and more people try it and use it. And then the last slide that I had here in the packet is kind of a heat map. It's hard to verbally describe the heat map, but it shows you where the riders, what their destinations that they're choosing within each of the zones. And you can see the heat map kind of pops up in that Clover Nook area, the Colerain Avenue Kroger, as well as the Mount Healthy Kroger, Mount Healthy High School. So a lot of shopping destinations and education destinations. We're seeing a lot of our ridership coming from the senior community. We also have a lot of adolescent and high school age students that are using it to do things outside of school hours. And then we also see folks that have zero car or maybe a one-car household where that car's being in use and then the other members of the household can use the service. But it's very convenient and reliable. I hope everybody will give it a try. Thank you all very much for your support for Metro and for this service. We hope to continue to roll out this service for additional communities in the future. So, be happy to take any questions that you have about it.
I have a quick question, and I apologize if you said that I might have missed it. How many people can get on at one trip request? Like
So
if you have a
can
family.
you can book up to 8.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could book it and fill that van up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a limit on how many times a person can use it per day?
There is not.
She wants a party bus.
Yeah.
Great.
Not be
Anybody else
$2
question?
per person,
Yes.
that would be
Ross?
$2.
It's $2 per person. Yeah.
Well, kid under 35 inches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So kid under 35 inches, you have 2 kids under 35 inches, they ride for free with a paying adult. So, just make sure you guys are aware of that.
Yeah.
Yes, what-
Mr. Redding.
So, the Winton Road corridor, or are you currently working on that, or?
Yeah, so we recently expanded that Springdale-Sharonville zone to go just to Winton Road and include the Forest Park Kroger and some of the commercial areas in the Forest Park community. But we do have a planned zone that will cover more of that area as well as farther west, kind of in the Pleasant Run area. We're also looking at those plan zones now. This is a pilot, so we've learned a lot from just launching those first 2 zones and how they were originally designed. So we probably will look at those areas and kind of tweak what the planned zones will be before they're launched.
Would there be an opportunity for like the North Gate Mount Healthy to expand into that, I guess?
Potentially, yeah. And as we roll out the plan zones, we'll have to figure out, you know, if you wanted to go between zones, where those areas are where people can get off one ride and then take another ride.
Okay.
So there will be some planned and intentional overlap, if you will, between the zones.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else?
When you say overlap plan zones, is that gonna take the place of like if you were ride the normal metro and the transfer kind of thing? Is that the same thing?
It'll essentially just be taking 2 rides on Metro now. I don't know that we'll do a transfer style ticket.
Well, what I meant was, I remember it used to be, and this is telling my age, when you rode the metro, you can get a transfer and go to another bus, to take you to another area. So I was wondering if it would meet at a certain station, like downtown maybe, and you would have to get off that bus to get on the next one. So my point in using that as an example probably wasn't a good one, but what I mean is, you can get off that bus where you say it changes into like another zone, and you can get from that one to another zone to go over to that other zone.
Right.
To get the metro now.
Correct.
We haven't done the transfers on the Metro Nows yet. We haven't done transfers on
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I know you're talking about now.
Okay.
Yeah, you would have to book another ride.
Okay.
Yeah. At least I think that's the way it's gonna work. That's the way it's gonna work.
I was just
What we don't want to do is we don't want to have someone able to ride from like one side of the county to another, because then that becomes a very long ride and encumbers and ties up the vans. The idea is to do short, quick trips within the zones to keep the vans rolling and to keep them efficient, to provide more rides, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Anybody else? I want to thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Thank you.
update.
Yeah.
Enjoyed your last visit. I went out and sat in the bus, but I haven't ridden it. But my wife and I are talking about it. We're both recently retired, so it's time to start doing that kind of stuff.
And one of the questions I got at the senior center, I spoke at the senior center in Springdale. They asked me, like, listen, there's a call system. When you call in, no, it's live people answering the phone at the dispatch office, okay? So you ain't got to go through this whole tell us voice thing and all this. You get an actual live person who'll say, hey, if you don't like to use the app, my mom's 84 years old. We ain't playing apps with her, okay? I'm just gonna be honest with you. But she's a person that would never use an app. She just call the number and come pick her up, you know what I'm saying? So that was a big question we had at the senior centers, and you just call in and you just pay the cash when you get on the bus. They have a slot.
Oh.
For cash if you call in.
Super.
Excellent, thank you. And so while we're on the cash thing, do you handle credit card transactions too for?
Not yet.
Okay,
So we, on our fixed route bus, we have what's called Easy Fare, which is an app that you can download to put your credit card in and buy a digital ticket. We have the same ticket option for the Metro now. So you
Okay.
can download the Easy Fare and then scan your ticket on the van.
okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else? No, we thank you once again for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our special events list, Mr. John Godey and Jennifer Vatter. Jennifer's not here, huh?
No, Jennifer had another commitment, so she couldn't make it. You're stuck with me tonight.
I'm not stuck with you, sir.
No, that's okay. Well, again, my name's John Godey. I'm with JMA Consultants. We are the city engineer, and we work with your street program. Scott asked me to stop by tonight, kind of go over a little bit about where we are with the SORTA grants due, and then subsequently the OPWC grants, but then to answer any questions you might have. So what we have is May 31st is the deadline for the SORTA applications. Before that, you have to pass legislation. This is something you've done every year. I think Jennifer sent you some sample legislation. It doesn't need to be street specific. Just, it can be very general. And actually you have a 2-week grace period after the applications are due May 31st to do that. But if you can do that within the next couple weeks, that'd be great. The streets that we have on the list that we developed a number of years ago, we kind of developed a list for the streets that have been funded through the OPWC grant process, and then the streets that have been funded through this relatively new SORTA grant. And they're a little different. The SORTA grant process, you get more points in the application if it's on a direct bus route. Well, you have two, Hamilton Avenue and Compton. So those have both been done. The most recent projects that you've been funded through SORTA have been Harrison Avenue, and we put it in for two different phases. They're working on that first phase now, which is north of Compton. We're working on the design on the second phase, which is south of Compton. So those have both been funded. The Madison Forest project was funded through the OPWC process, and that's under construction now. The Madison Werner is the next project. That just was recently funded with the last round. You haven't even received the project agreement yet from OPWC. You'll be getting that in July. And that starts that process moving to where we can start design, and that's probably a 2025 construction. So first phase of Harrison will be done, hopefully, by the end of June. Part of the issue with these projects, they're taking a little bit longer because Waterworks has been tagging on to all of them. And it's creating some some additional time on the front end during design, because we have to design the roadway improvements. Waterworks takes our plans and our work, and then they work on their improvements. And then more importantly, it adds a month or two on the construction end. For instance, both of those projects are under construction now. There's been no roadway work done on either of them. It's all been water main work. So it does add some time, and it creates a bit of a log jam because it's tough getting these projects done by the end of the year and paved. They're on the front end, all the roadway work's on the back end, and that's temperature and weather dependent, and we start getting into later in the year, and it's harder to get them paved. Now, neither of those projects we're gonna have any problem. Those will be done by, I think, the end of June for Harrison, early August for the other one. But the next phase of Harrison, I was hoping to get that out and ready to go. That may start this year, but it won't get finished this year, because Waterworks will, I believe the Waterworks will be doing work on that. If they aren't, there's a good chance we can get that paved this year, but we'll see. This next round of streets that we have, the Joseph and McMakin was the top rated project, and we've applied in the past for OPWC funding on that. That's a full roadway reconstruct, so we're going down, fixing the base, adding storm sewer, adding curb. And that, if you decide to put that in for another OPWC grant, that would be due in September. That wouldn't be the project that you'd want to apply for in May. Hickman was the other project, and that's more of another OPWC project. The next three projects that we have on the list that we developed some time ago, next three streets that are on the list that we looked at for Bill a number of years ago were Rugg, Van Fleet, and Hunt Ridge, Evencrest, and Southampton. And you could add that section of sewer to that if you so thought. That's in a condition that could probably use some work. So those are the next three. All of your streets are eligible for SORTA if they're within 3/4 of a mile of a bus route. All of your streets, I think, are eligible. Though you get less points the further away. So if it's direct, you get a lot of points. If it's within a 1/4 mile, you get less, a 1/2 mile, and then 3/4 of a mile. So The closer it is, connecting, it helps out a lot. None of those are directly connecting to any of your bus routes, so, but they're all eligible. So, and if there are any other streets that you would have, we can certainly look at them and make a recommendation here over the next couple weeks, because we have to do cost estimates and get those in to you to review, pass, an authorization to fund those, and that has to be done prior to May 31st. Legislation, it can be done within 2 weeks after that, but the main thing is if we decide on which streets you want to apply for, if any, then we can work on the estimates. We can even make a recommendation. If you give us 5 streets and say, hey, which ones do you recommend? We can do that, prepare the estimates, and then you can make a decision. So hopefully that helps.
Yes.
Okay, and if you have any
It helps
questions,
me,
I'd be
I
more
know.
than happy to answer it, anything you have.
Anybody got a street burning a hole in their head? Yeah, your street was mentioned, you're all right.
Yep.
And the streets for the sort of, those may be more where we're not taking the full roadway base out, but we're taking the curb out and coming in and grinding out the bad surface pavement, putting in new surface, new drive aprons and such, but we're not going down for the full roadway. So it'd be similar to what we did on Compton last year.
Yeah, hopefully there's no water lines in it too.
They've been following on most of the streets now. I think they've done some work on this next phase of Harrison, so I'm not sure, not absolutely sure that they're going to replace on that, but almost every other project they've been replacing their water mains and services.
Well, there's still a lot of lead water lines on Harrison Avenue also.
I think that's what's driving their program. They used to wait 100 years. That's what they considered their life of their water main. But because of the lead line services, it's not necessarily the age of the water main. It's whether or not there's any lead lines. So.
Okay, Mr. Godey, does anybody have any questions?
Your recommendation is to do select streets that don't need to be completely rebuilt.
I think that would generally be the recommendation because of the funding. On OPWC, you can borrow your local match. You can borrow engineering, construction engineering. SORTA, you have to fund your local match with cash and then pay out of pocket with cash for engineering services. So that's one of the advantages of using the more expensive projects through OPWC.
Anybody else? Joe?
Nope, I'm good.
Thank you very much then, Mr. Godey.
Okay, thank you. If you have any questions, Scott can get with us and we'll, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, we'll have a street or two that you want to apply for.
Okay,
Sounds good.
wonderful.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
sir.
Thank you.
Okay, move along then to public input. Anybody here who'd like to address council tonight? Come on up.
Good evening. Good evening, all right. Dwight Weesey, 1421 St. Clair Avenue, a member of the Tree Commission here for the City of Mount Healthy. I just wanted to provide a quick update to you all as to what we have going on. As we shared last time, we did win the grant. We have now submitted a request for proposals to 5 arborists to come on board to support the city in doing hazard assessments, to support in doing the contract work and helping to get rid of or do the hazard reduction efforts that would have to go along with that, and then also support the city for work such as roadway construction and making sure that we're maintaining those tree lawn regions so that we can actually have those trees continue to grow and work with the city on any of that construction effort so that we're maintaining the city's interest for those trees. We're now ready to move on to the next step. We're actually going to look at going out with requests for proposals for the ground remediation and tree planting then for right here along Perry Street and maybe some adjoining streets to that area, just for the sake of trying to recover where we've had some damage in the past that we really can't get trees to grow right now, and we want to be able to do that. Part of that, originally that had been part of bringing in the city to do some of that effort for the street remediation, but we're understanding that the department there is probably a little bit light on manpower at this moment, so we're seeing if we can do that with a contract support then at this point. And all this is still coming from grant funds.
Awesome.
Great.
Any questions?
Guys, girls?
Just
Thank you,
thanks.
Tim.
Yep.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
for-
you.
Thanks for the information.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
the grant.
thanks for all the time you put in. Anybody else like to address council? Come on up, sir. Give us your name and address. Hello.
Hi. Gary Wilhelm, 7425 Martin. And I came up tonight because I got a nice little letter from the city, and 24 hours later, they came out and cut my grass. One, I'm disabled. Stage 2 lymphatic cancer. My kid cuts my grass, but we had rain the first 2 weeks of the month of April. Every day. Every day. It is unsafe to cut the grass in rain or when the grass is wet. Common sense. Kind of entitles the part of, and I mean entitles, city safety manager. Use the term correctly. If he wants to cite something, across the street from me on the corner of Hoffner, that yard looks like a hippie commune. I mean, it had a refrigerator in front of the garage for 9 months. I called 3 times up here, 3 times over 9 months. That yard is trash, putting it plain and simple. Now, is the city forward thinkers or are we buffoons? I'll let you decide.
Sometimes we're buffoons. Yeah, sometimes we are.
Yeah, it happens. Everybody does at some point, sometime
Yes.
in life.
Yes. Mr. Bauer, is there anything you could look into that on, or?
I show he was cited on 4/1 and reinspection was on 4/8. 4/1 was a big day for Mr. Knight. He had almost 50 notices that he passed out. That was pretty much the beginning of grass cutting season. Most people cut the grass. So the intention was to give him a bill and have him pay or assess it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm thinking, is there anything we can do to help?
I was going to include it in my report. I know there's resources in town, Tecan Farm, other people that can help mow grass. I mean, the intention isn't to just simply penalize people for the fun of it. So, I mean, if you do need assistance, I mean, you can reach out to the city or other resources.
It rains every day. It's not common sense to cut the grass when the ground is slick as dog's soup.
Sure.
I mean, are we trying to drum up business for the EMTs? If somebody slides underneath a mower? And we were taught ever since little kids when we first touch a mower, common sense and safety.
Well, I would encourage council to maybe step back and take a look at this, see if there's anything can be done.
I'm from Cincinnati, so everything city that I
believe it would go through mayor's court.
This is not a citation. This is just a notice that you have a certain amount of time to do something to.
But he got the invoice for somebody cutting it.
After it was cut, right?
Right, which in Cincinnati, the citation would have happened first, and then failure to cut, then would have prompted the city to pay it with an invoice, both of which are able to be heard at a third-party hearing.
And we do not have that. I'm not sure we could get it set up with our budget. Because you're talking about paying people to run basically a second mayor's court.
And I don't have the answer to that. I just know that way anybody that's getting the citations from the inspectors have the appeal process before they're fined, which is, I think, what he's basically asking.
Right, right.
Have you received your bill? So, I mean, it would be before council at some point. If he does not pay, it would be included in an assessment.
I called up here, the girls in the office said that Bill had sent out a bunch of them, and that they weren't even aware that it was even done. That's how coordinated our city is, and that's deplorable. Thank you.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think maybe some discussion could this could be talked over. Moving on, is there anybody else who would like to address City Council? Okay. Then we're going to move on to the City Manager's report. Mr. Bauer.
500, something like that. That's a few updates on my report. I printed off new copies for you. Let's see, just started with fire department. We have started the process for the organizational assessment. It's in process. Fire chief is providing the documentation. Let you know how that goes. We're now in the hiring process for our 8th full-time position. We had one person leave for Springfield Township. We're backfilling that position. I'm working on getting access to, it's called ESO. That's what our scheduling software is, but it also includes our fire inspections. So I'm hoping to add those stats here eventually in this blank space. Hopefully it'll be coming in the next month or so. I won't steal too much of Chief's thunder here for police, but there'll be some updates on the Warner eviction and the recent traffic blitz. See, John Godey pretty much gave an update on the road work there. Hopefully they'll actually start the road work here in the next few weeks, get done with the, looked like they were pretty much wrapping up the waterwork stuff. I did add code enforcement section down here. So April 1st, April 15th, those are pretty much the big days that Bill Knight sent out notices. The notice is the letter that he puts on the door or personally delivers, and the citations is how many times Public Works actually had to go out and either pick up the trash or the brush or actually cut the grass. So that percentage, close to 90% of individuals are responding to the notice and fixing either the trash or cutting the grass. So that's year-to-date through April, so we're obviously up from last year. It was intentional, just trying to work more on code enforcement, force people to cut their grass, pick up trash, pick up brush. So you'll be seeing a few assessments coming up here pretty soon. For finance, the annual tax budget that we put together, that should be on your desk at the next meeting. I got another update for the aggregation prices. The recommendation is still to wait till later this year. Other page, updates on the grants. So we were officially approved for the CDAP grant. That's $100,000 in facade improvements that we can offer to businesses downtown. It just needs to be spent by the end of next year. That's exciting. I did submit the CDBG. That's what we had the public hearing for at the last meeting. So parks, code enforcement, street improvements, all three of those have been submitted. It's usually pretty much a done deal that we get it, but still waiting to hear back. You know about this one already, but I added it to the list for the port. That's the demo of Covered Bridge. It's been pre-approved, just waiting. Hopefully by the end of June, we should know from the state if we'll actually get the funds. Let's see, you do have something on your desk related to Memorial Day. I believe this is the exact same route as last year, but that is in the works. Another one from the school, part of the fiscal distress. If you'd like to provide comments, QR code on here. First meeting for the commission is this Thursday. Got all the support for it. It's probably close to 300 pages. So that's what I get to go through over the next couple of days here. And that's all I have for my report.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Mr. Bauer? None? Okay, we're going to move on. Ordinances and resolutions.
Nope. Chief.
I'm sorry, Chief. I apologize.
You can skip me, Mr. Bauer.
You sit there and I ignore you.
I don't mind.
Middle name Skip.
Okay, we're going to back up for the police chief's report.
Just didn't want to say your name. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Geigersheimer.
There you go.
Good.
Huh? I got it out, didn't I?
First name is Skip.
The unfortunate situation with the homicide at Clovernook Apartments last month was quickly addressed and solved. The person that's responsible was arrested, taken custody, charged with first-degree murder. I once again handed to our first responders that are there, the officers, as well as Detective Ben Jones, who came out there, secured the scene, and really secured the evidence, started developing leads right away. We worked with the Hamilton County Investigative Unit and the Fugitive Task Force to investigate this homicide, and it was quickly captured. We really have a really good relationship in using the partnership with Hamilton County on this stuff. We're smart enough to know that we can't do it all alone. I mean, we have the expertise, but we don't have the manpower. So we cooperate with those guys, and they are more than willing to help us out, and I can't thank them enough. But not to diminish what Ben Jones and our officers did as well as far as solving this homicide. Clovernook their management work cooperative as well. There still are some concerns regarding their camera systems not being fully operational when we're trying to address that. The actual location where this occurred at the apartment, it was under eviction. So Clovernook is moving towards doing evictions and exercising the teeth in their lease agreements, so they continue to work in that sense. As Mr. Bauer referred to, 4226 Warner, it's been a problem for years. We were looking at a way to see if we can address that. We were looking at exercising the nuisance, declaring the property as a nuisance. However, with Mr. Bauer's help, as well as Scott Solomon's help, we got in contact with the attorney of the owner/landlord, and we provided them with plenty of information, which was enough for those guys to move towards eviction. So that is happening. I don't know if it was a 30-day or 60-day. I'm still trying to figure that out, but that house is being addressed, thankfully, and all the officers downstairs are extremely happy. We had 275 traffic contacts for April. I watch all the council meetings, and I know traffic concerns and traffic speedings, traffic violations are a huge concern with our residents. We authorized additional targeted traffic enforcement over the last few weeks and addressed some serious issues, and they are out there. I mean, these are true violations, double the speed limit, passing, going around, just blatant disregard for traffic violations. We're going to continue to do that. So next month, we're going to continue, at the end of this month as well as next month, we're going to continue to do that. And I see the huge benefit for the city. And I think we're seeing some of the results. Our traffic crashes are down, and so it certainly helped. Regarding court revenue is up 10% from this time last year. This was a result of working with the prosecutor to ensure that traffic citations, along with driving under suspensions, are properly written. And there's a little more that goes into that. I won't bore you with it, but we're doing the things the right way, what the prosecutor wants us to do, as well as the magistrate. Also, we continue to work with our outside collections agency to collect delinquent fines, and that's paying off as well. So I think we're heading in the right direction there. On a lighter note, we worked with the Mount Healthy Preparatory Academy on an evacuation drill. What was good was Pastor Washington. We included him on that, and
Pastor Washington was willing to open up his church and use his location as evacuation location should there be a critical incident at the preparatory academy. Pastor Washington worked with the superintendent of that school. So it's true cooperation between the schools and one of the churches here, as well as Pastor Washington, partnering with each other in preparing, hopefully, that a critical incident never occurs, but I think we're certainly prepared. Our traveling program continues to be a huge benefit to the police department and the city. Some other things we're doing some active shooter trainings over at Affinity Place, and we are ready for the parade again. Kind of hit rewind on last year's plan. It seemed to go well. We're going to do that. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Chief. Question?
Thanks, Chief.
Nope, no question.
Keep up the traffic citations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got to slow people down. We got to get them to stop. We got
Yes,
to,
sir.
I mean, start there. That'll help the rest of the community, I think.
Agreed.
Yep, greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Chief, what is the response to the speed humps from the citizens? Have you heard?
Generally good. What we've noticed is people after the speed humps, they're trying to, they slow down for the speed humps, but then they try to recuperate some of the time going back up the hill. So that's where a lot of our officers are being positioned, and we're catching them there.
There you go.
But in general, it's slowed down. We've also notified Springfield Township and their officers, if they're on an EMS type situation on a run, for those guys to be careful in this area. So
Yeah, they know
in
it.
general, I heard one complaint, which,
It's probably somebody with a lead foot, so.
well, I said slow down. Sorry about your car, but slow down here. I mean, just, take it easy. So,
Okay.
good.
Justin did move the traffic counter back onto Adams in front of Mara's house where it was before. We were picking up 90-mile-an-hour plus drivers, so we want to keep it there for at least a week. So next meeting, I should have the updated numbers. Hopefully, we'll see some significant decreases.
Mr. Bauer, the additional speed humps, do we have money budgeted for any more this year, or?
I spoke to the county because we're doing the streetscape study this summer. I believe we have $65,000. $50,000 is going to go to that study, so there'll be $15,000 left. I mean, in general, their expectation is that we would spend the remaining funds to accomplish the goals set forward in the streetscape study. So I would imagine, I think we have to kind of wait till they come out with that study, then we can justify spending it on speed humps. But they seem to think that that would be a reasonable way to spend it.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else, questions?
I got a silly question for Chief. When, like with the homicide that we had, or even a medical, or somebody passes away in one of our resident homes, do we have any counseling for the EMS or the police that respond to these?
Yeah, we do. It's between the police officers and the EMS as well. Our chaplain, Pastor Washington, is trained. He actually just went to a training as far as assisting with counseling. There's a lot of independent outside resources that are law enforcement and fire-based that are willing to come out. And it's kind of incumbent on me as a chief to check with my officers, and if I see signs, as well as our supervisors, to say, hey, you need to talk about this, or you're not yourself. So we are paying attention more to mental health with our officers and our first responders than I certainly did when I responded. But that's a good question. Thank you, sir.
The city also pays for what's called PEEP, Public Employee Assistance Program, and it can be used for, it's free to employees, but it can be used for anything. It can be grief, it can be marital counseling, financial counseling, and I forget how many, it's like 10 or 15 sessions or something like that per incident. So, I mean, and I think it's very easy to, once you've exhausted as many as you get, to just sort of reframe the issue and get another 10 or 15. So, I mean, we do offer that as a city as well to anybody that would feel the need to use it. So,
Any more questions? Okay. Now, Melanie, you have anything? Okay. Now we can move on to ordinances and resolutions. And we have no second readings, but we do have a first reading of an ordinance. Ordinance number 24-2044, an ordinance amending and updating sections of the City of Mount Healthy tax ordinance as detailed below.
So there's a lot to this one. There's a summary page that should be at the back. That's straight from Rita. I mean, basically, the state of Ohio passed a bill that requires us to change our code. This just gets our tax code in alignment with the state. There's a handful of things in here that it's changing. There's limits on how much we can charge for failure to not file. It extends the extension another month. Minors no longer can be taxed or exempt from municipal income tax. What else is in here? There's just certain notifications that are required now. I think that's the big ones, though. You know, again, this is just sort of an administrative thing we have to do to just be in alignment with state Ohio Revised Code. So
the Kool-Aid stand gets taxed.
yeah, right.
I saw that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Really, you got to be kidding me. So I do have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Since we are our own municipality, from a municipality standpoint, we don't have to tax those kids or anybody
Right.
under the age of 18.
I
We
know
can
there are
say
some
no.
that they have already had it in their code to not tax
Yeah.
minors. So I mean, it's for some it's not a change, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, again, as a municipality and a municipality tax, we can say, no, we don't want that in our code. Correct? I mean,
I don't think so.
I think we have home rule for our own income tax.
You're saying we could still tax minors? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
we would say we wouldn't want, unless I read it wrong, I thought they
This
were
is saying
going.
that we can, that they are now exempt.
Well, yes, definitely, okay,
So
good.
you-
I thought, then I read that wrong
Yeah,
last
so as a
night.
municipality before, we did have the option to tax or not
Yes.
tax. Now this is saying,
Yes, we don't want
yeah,
that.
you
yes.
cannot tax, yeah. This would probably affect our lifeguards, I guess. Not sure who else we
Yep.
would have that would be a minor, but.
Council, any questions on this? What are your wishes?
Couple
First
minor
reading?
corrections first. On page 2 at the top, that first whereas, the second line should say, the City of Mount Healthy Income Tax Ordinance.
Sarah, I
rather
think you
than
have a corrected
Tax
one.
income, I'm sorry?
I think, and Sarah, I think you're the one, the copy you have, I think, is corrected
Well, the
already,
one she's
just-
got, but the one
yeah,
we got.
yeah.
So these people that read it over the weekend and got these comments.
Right.
And then back on page 9. Very last paragraph on the right where it says New Richmond, that should be the City of Mount Healthy.
Our law director is also the law director of New Richmond.
Yeah, and on the next page, on the very first line, New Richmond should say the City of Mount Healthy. And then about 5 lines down, New Richmond should be the City of Mount Healthy.
You can do it in 2 readings if you like. It was technically due December 31st.
When?
December 31st of last year.
Last year.
So if you have further questions, I mean, I can attempt to do some research for you. But again, this is just all according to the Ohio Revised Code that we have to make these changes.
What is your wish, council?
Probably first reading.
We got to go back to the November, or December 31st anyway, right?
What's that?
We're going back to December 31st on this,
Right.
whether we pass it tonight or next week, right?
Correct, yeah.
First
Well,
reading.
First reading.
Got so many edits to it.
First reading?
Yes.
How you feel, guys, over here? First reading?
Yes, yes.
That's fine. I don't know if we can do retroactive legislation, though.
I mean, if we would have taxed somebody, I mean, I
If they
think
would,
that's the
if
only
they
time
would
it would
fight
have.
it, they would win, but that,
Yeah, any of the changes that are in here, I don't think there's even anything that we would have to refund to anybody, or some of it, the notifications, Rita doesn't do the notifications that they're telling us not to do. So there shouldn't be any infractions. This is really just updating the code.
yours already changed?
I'm reading this again. This makes sense at all, the way this is worded.
All right, first reading then, council? Over here. Joe was first reading, right?
First, yes, sir, sorry.
First reading.
Yes.
Denise, okay. First reading on ordinance number 24-2044. And today is the 7th, right?
Ready for me?
What's that?
Are you ready?
Well, you don't have anything on first reading. What is this, May?
Yes.
Okay, that's the end of the ordinances. We have one new resolution, resolution number 24-1218. A resolution authorizing the city manager to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Transit Infrastructure Fund programs and to exclude contracts as required, execute contracts as required.
So this is related to SORTA. We'll do another one of these for OPWC in a few months, but this is specific to SORTA that John was talking about. You can do it in 2 readings. He needs it by the end of the month, so we can do the second reading at the next meeting. It's just generic. In the past, we have put the specific street that we want. So if we pick which one we want, it's easy enough to just add it in here, but right now it's just generic. JMA is the one that fills out the application for us, so I would tell them to apply for whichever street council tells me to tell him to do. But again, this one's just generic and specific to SORTA.
Okay, so we need to have a little discussion on which street would be next then, right?
I think we should get a recommendation from the street committee before the next meeting,
Okay.
by the next meeting.
I can have John put together he mentioned he'd put together some estimates, so of a few of the streets, and then we can pick whichever one makes sense.
Yes.
Recommend whichever makes sense.
Peggy, could you call a meeting for that? You have to call a public meeting for that.
Should I do it like before the next meeting or a different day?
Or the next meeting usually works for most people.
6:30?
You mean the day of the meeting? Yeah.
6:30?
That would be the 14th?
21st.
21st. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
I would do 6.
The May 21st, street committee meeting,
6 o'clock. Paul says 6.
6? Troublemaker.
I won't be here anyway.
That was her.
Okay, first reading on resolution number 1218. That is all of our ordinances and resolutions. Old business? New business? Yes.
2 things. One, I don't know if you've noticed, but they've taped off in the park and has started to deliver the pieces to put the temporary pieces in.
Are there some pieces out there?
They're starting to bring the stuff, yeah.
Okay, nice.
So hopefully within the next 5 to 10 days, we will have our structures in place.
Did you get sponsors?
We did. That was the second thing I was
Roll.
going to say. Bob, if you let me talk. The second thing was that we did get a sponsorship from Trinity for $5,000. So one of our sponsors did respond. Thank them so much. So that will cover at least 2, if not partial of our 3rd structure. And then I haven't heard back from the other 2 sponsors, but that is great news, and we're
Yeah,
very
that's awesome.
appreciative.
Congrats, Keisha.
So excited. Then, what was the other thing? I forgot now. Ran a brain fart. I was so excited about the park structure. I will not be here for the next meeting. I'll be in Italy. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Because that was what it was. Thank you, Sarah. Great moms think alike. So what I would like to do, we're having the park on the June, before the first concert, we're doing the greet at 6:15. I would like to try to have, if we have everything in place, do our rededication of the park that day too. So I have to talk to Scott. We discussed it a little bit, but I would like to be able to do that, invite the sponsors, invite the community out and rededicate the park back to Mount Healthy.
That's easy done.
Yep.
Okay.
So that would be right before the first concert. So it's gonna be a busy night, but a joyous one. Sorry, thank you. That's all I
That's
have.
all right. Anybody else have a new business? I have one or two things. One is Memorial Day, which Mr. Bauer brought up. I have got a call into Jamie Wolf to see, because I think he's got the banner, and I haven't heard back from him yet, but I will find that. Memorial Day at 2
It used
o'clock.
to be behind the.
No, it's back here.
Is it right there?
Yeah.
It's right there.
I didn't know that. I'll call him up and tell him, never mind. Okay, where was I? Memorial Day Parade starts at 2 o'clock. Try to be there at 1:30 or so. We are going to, I assume we're going to march, those of us who can. So I'll go ahead and send this in. You gonna send it in, Scott, or you want me to go ahead and send the application in?
Send the application
Yeah, Heidi Whitaker wanted to,
for who's going to be in it? Is that what it is? Is that what you're saying?
I have
Go for it.
here.
I've never submitted the application. I mean,
Okay, I'll take care of it. It's just,
Okay.
she sent me one,
okay.
and I'll take care of that to get us registered,
Sounds good.
and that's it. There was another thing, but I can't remember what it is.
See, it's not just me.
Keisha, are you still meeting at the library? What day was it Thursday?
That would be
or-
this Friday. I'm
Or
just waiting
Friday,
for her the confirmation. Yeah, so Friday. I was hoping Lainey would stay, but she left. But Friday, Channel 12 News is going to come to do a short interview about the park. I mean, not the park, but I'm going to talk about the park tour, but to see if they can come out for the rededication. But they're going to talk about what's going on in the community, and one of the things they want to focus on is the relocation of the library.
What time?
9 a.m. Friday. So, at the new location. So if you can come, come
9 o'clock this coming Friday.
this Friday.
Okay. Anybody else? New business? Ms. Lingo?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, please.
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Ms. Rissel? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
That's what chairs get to me.